The EU is set to ban most single-use plastics by 2021. And if your company still uses plastic straws, plastic cutlery, or expanded polystyrene food containers, then you could face heavy fines unless you can prove that your business is environmentally friendly. But how do you do that? Well, there's a global movement that has emerged to help companies become more sustainable. It's called B Corp, and if you want to get certified, here's what you need to know. There are over 3,700 B Corps worldwide, including big names like Ben & Jerry's, Patagonia, and even the Marriott Group. And each one has met the rigorous standards of the nonprofit organization that verifies the certification. The idea is simple. Better business equals better for society and the planet. It all began in 2006, when a group of progressive business leaders got together and decided to create a new kind of corporation, one that wasn't just about profits, but also people and the planet. They drew up a list of standards for what they called a benefit corporation, a company that balances profit with purpose. And today the movement has gone global. Businesses in over 60 countries have become certified B Corp, including some of the biggest names in the game. Patagonia, which makes its products out of recycled materials and donates 1% of sales to environmental groups. Ben & Jerry's, the ice cream company that only uses fair trade ingredients. Or even the Marriott Group, which has pledged to cut its carbon footprint in half by 2050. But how does a business actually become a B Corp? Well, it starts with a simple online assessment. Every company that wants to become certified must take what's called the B Impact Assessment. This is a free online tool that measures a company's social and environmental performance. It covers everything from a company's energy use to its labor practices, and it's scored out of 200. Now, this assessment isn't just a box-ticking exercise. It's designed to be as comprehensive as possible. Questions cover everything from a company's energy use to its labor practices and even its governance. Once a company completes the assessment, it will receive a score and an action plan for how to improve. If the score is high enough, the company can then pay a fee to have its performance legally verified by B Lab, the nonprofit behind the B Corp movement. And once a company has been certified, it can display the B Corp logo on its products and marketing materials. It's a stamp of approval that lets customers know that the company has met the highest standards of social and environmental performance. Now, you might be wondering why a company would want to go through all this. After all, it can be a lengthy and expensive process. But for many businesses, it's worth it. Certification can help companies attract customers who are looking for more sustainable options. It can also help them recruit employees who want to work for a purpose-driven company. And it can even help them save money. That's because many B Corps report significant cost savings after completing the B Impact Assessment. In fact, one study found that B Corps are 28% more profitable than non-B Corps. Of course, becoming a B Corp isn't a walk in the park. It requires a serious commitment from both management and employees. But the good news is that there are resources available to help businesses through the process. B Lab offers a range of support services, including training, coaching, and even funding. And there are also a number of third-party consultants who can help businesses prepare for the B Impact Assessment. So what exactly does it take to become a B Corp? The first step is to complete the B Impact Assessment. This is a free online assessment that evaluates a company's social and environmental performance. Companies must score at least 80 out of 200 to be eligible for certification. Once a company has completed the assessment, it must pay a fee to have its score legally verified by B Lab. In addition to meeting the B Impact Assessment criteria, companies must also meet certain legal requirements. For example, they must have a defined purpose that goes beyond simply making a profit. They must also have a legal structure in place to ensure that they are accountable to their stakeholders, such as employees, customers, and the community. Finally, companies must also make a commitment to continuous improvement. This means setting goals for how they will improve their social and environmental performance over time. That's a lot to ask, right? Well, not according to B Lab. In fact, the organization believes that these requirements should be the standard for all businesses. According to B Lab, the average B Corp has increased its score by 13% after certification, and 83% of B Corp say that the process has helped them improve their business. Becoming a B Corp is a journey, not a destination. It's a constant process of improvement and evolution. But the good news is that there's no finish line. There's always more that can be done to improve a company's social and environmental performance. And B Lab is there to help companies along the way. But what does this mean for you? Whether you're an employee, a customer, or an investor, being part of the B Corp movement means that you can feel good about the company you're working with or buying from. You can be assured that it's doing its best to make a positive impact on the world. So next time you see the B Corp logo, know that you're dealing with a company that's serious about sustainability. That said, let's look at some of the benefits of becoming a B Corp. First and foremost, it's good for business. As we've already mentioned, B Corps tend to be more profitable and more resilient. They're also more attractive to customers and employees. In other words, it's good for the bottom line, but it's also good for society and the environment. B Corps are making a positive impact on the world by reducing their carbon footprint, improving labor standards, and giving back to their communities. So what are some examples of B Corp making a difference? Well, there's one company that's working to solve the plastic waste crisis by making everyday items out of recycled plastic. Another is working to reduce poverty by providing fair wages and safe working conditions for garment workers. And another is working to protect the environment by donating a portion of their profits to environmental causes. That's what B Corp is all about, using business as a force for good. Now, becoming a B Corp isn't easy. It takes a lot of work and dedication, but the results are definitely worth it. Not only is it good for business, but it's also good for society and the environment. Now, the best part about B Corp is that it's a global movement. There are B Corps in over 60 countries around the world, and new ones are joining every day. This means that the movement is growing and gaining momentum. More and more companies are realizing that business can be a force for good and that sustainability is good for business. Now, what can you do to join the movement? Well, if you're a consumer, you can start by supporting B Corps with your purchasing power. When you buy from a B Corp, you're sending a message to other companies that you care about social and environmental performance. You're also helping to grow the B Corp movement and make it more mainstream. You can also get involved by volunteering your time or donating to B Lab, the nonprofit organization that runs the B Corp certification. As a business owner, you can start by taking the B Impact Assessment. This is a free online assessment that will help you measure your company's social and environmental performance. Once you've taken the assessment, you can work on improving your score and eventually apply for B Corp certification. You can also get involved by joining the B Corp community. This is a great way to connect with other B Corp, learn about best practices, and stay up to date on the latest developments in the movement. If you're an employee, you can start by talking to your employer about B Corp. Let them know that you're interested in the company becoming certified and offer to help them through the process. You can also get involved by attending B Corp events and meetings. This is a great way to learn more about the movement and meet other like-minded individuals. No matter who you are, there are plenty of ways to get involved in the B Corp movement. So what are you waiting for? Join us today and help create a more sustainable and equitable world. If you want to see the future of business, look no further than B Corp. These companies are proving that it's possible to be both successful and sustainable. They're also showing us that it's possible to make a positive impact on the world without sacrificing profits. So what are you waiting for? Start supporting B Corp today and help build a better future for all of us.